In life, there are certain people who just can't seem to be happy for you, no matter how hard you work or how successful you become. Envy can be a powerful emotion, and it often manifests in subtle ways. But the signs of someone's envy are not always as invisible as you might think. According to Buddhist teachings, envy can be toxic, not just for the one experiencing it, but also for those around them. It can lead to negative energy, and sometimes even to destructive behaviors aimed at bringing you down. The more aware you are of these signs, the more you can protect yourself from its effects. Buddhism teaches us that we must maintain a balanced, peaceful mind. However, dealing with people who harbor envy can disrupt that peace. Recognizing these signs early on can help you safeguard your mental and emotional well-being and stay on the path to success without being dragged down by negativity. Envy can destroy relationships and prevent personal growth, so it's important to be vigilant. In this essay, we'll dive into the 5 most common signs that someone may be envious of you, as well as how you can protect yourself and maintain your peace according to Buddhist principles. Stay tuned for ways to safeguard your energy, preserve your happiness, and keep moving forward with confidence. 1. Passive-aggressive behavior. One of the most common signs of envy is passive-aggressive behavior. This is when someone subtly undermines you through indirect actions instead of expressing their feelings openly. A person who is envious of you may act friendly on the surface, but their words or actions carry hidden negativity. This can be in the form of backhanded compliments, sarcastic remarks, or even subtle sabotage. For example, a colleague might compliment your work, but follow it up with something like, "It's amazing how you got that done, even though I know you're not exactly the most talented in our team." While it might seem like a compliment at first, the underlying message is one of criticism and jealousy. Envious people may even try to belittle your achievements, downplay your efforts, or make you feel as though you don't truly deserve your success. Buddhism teaches that we must approach such situations with mindfulness and equanimity. By practicing awareness, we can recognize these subtle signs without getting caught up in them. Protecting yourself in these situations involves not taking the comments personally and staying grounded in your self-worth. Respond with kindness, but do not feed into the negative energy. By doing this, you avoid escalating the situation and maintain a calm, peaceful mind. An important Buddhist principle is to treat others with compassion, even when they may act from a place of envy. Their passive-aggressive behavior often stems from their inner dissatisfaction, and understanding that can help you approach them with a sense of empathy rather than defensiveness. Still, it's crucial to protect your boundaries by not tolerating toxic behavior, especially when it's designed to hurt or manipulate you. When you recognize passive-aggressive tendencies, try not to engage in a confrontation. Instead, continue focusing on your path with confidence and poise. People who are envious of you may find it difficult to maintain their negativity if you remain unaffected and peaceful. By not reacting emotionally, you shield yourself from their harmful influence and keep your energy intact. At the same time, practicing detachment is key. Buddhist teachings encourage us not to become overly attached to praise or criticism. By developing inner peace, we become less affected by others' opinions and more focused on our own spiritual growth. This detachment helps you to preserve your happiness and success without being weighed down by the jealousy of others. Passive-aggressive behavior is a clear sign that someone is envious of you, but with mindfulness and compassion, you can protect yourself. Recognizing this behavior allows you to maintain your emotional balance and safeguard your well-being, no matter how others act around you. Continue on your path with integrity and let their envy become just another passing moment in your life. Second, constant comparison. Another prominent sign that someone is envious of you is their tendency to constantly compare themselves to you. Whether it's in terms of your career, relationships, possessions, or lifestyle, an envious person can't seem to stop measuring their own achievements against yours. These comparisons may not always be verbal, but you'll often notice a shift in how they interact with you. For instance, an envious person might always seem to one-up you in conversations. If you talk about your recent accomplishments or successes, they may immediately try to shift the conversation to their own achievements, trying to prove that their success is just as impressive or, in their mind, more significant than yours. They might start saying things like, "Oh, that's great, but I actually just did something even better." Or, "That's nothing. Wait until you see what I've accomplished. At the heart of this constant comparison is a sense of insecurity. People who feel envious may have low self-esteem or unresolved feelings of inadequacy. Instead of celebrating your achievements or feeling inspired by them, they feel threatened and need to compete in order to elevate their own sense of self-worth. Their constant comparison is a reflection of their inner struggle, not a reflection of your worth or accomplishments. Buddhist teachings emphasize the importance of understanding that everyone's journey is unique, and comparing oneself to others only leads to dissatisfaction and suffering. When we allow ourselves to constantly measure our progress against someone else's, we invite negativity and discontent into our lives. The path to peace and happiness, according to Buddhism, is learning to detach from these comparisons and focus on your own growth and progress. In dealing with someone who constantly compares themselves to you, it's important to remain humble and grounded. Don't fall into the trap of competition. Instead of feeling threatened by their attempts to one-up you, take a moment to recognize that their behavior is rooted in envy and insecurity. Respond with kindness and empathy, acknowledging their feelings but also setting clear boundaries. One way to protect yourself is to avoid engaging in discussions where comparisons are likely to happen. If the person brings up your success in a competitive way, gently redirect the conversation to focus on shared interests or mutual growth. It's important to avoid retaliating or making your own comparisons, as this can escalate the situation and fuel their jealousy further. Furthermore, the Buddhist practice of mindfulness can be a powerful tool in these situations. By staying mindful of your own feelings and not allowing yourself to be drawn into a cycle of comparison, you can prevent your peace of mind from being disturbed. The key is not to take their actions personally. Their need to compare is about their internal struggles, not a reflection of who you are or what they have accomplished. Constant comparison is a clear sign that someone is envious of you. Recognizing this behavior allows you to respond with compassion and mindfulness, protecting your peace and preserving your emotional balance. Stay focused on your own path and don't allow their insecurities to overshadow your success or happiness. 3. Lack of support. Another telling sign that someone is envious of you is a lack of support or encouragement, especially during moments when you need it the most. People who are genuinely happy for your success will celebrate with you, offer support, and lift you up when you achieve something significant. However, an envious person will often remain distant, indifferent, or even subtly discouraging when you share your successes. Instead of congratulating you or showing interest in your achievements, they might act distant, dismissive, or uninterested. When you achieve something important, a person who envies you may not show enthusiasm for your accomplishments. Instead, they may change the subject, make light of your success, or focus on something else entirely. For instance, after you've received a promotion at work, an envious person might shift the conversation to their own unrelated concerns, subtly downplaying your achievement. They may also fail to acknowledge your hard work or contributions, which can be emotionally hurtful, especially if they are someone close to you. Buddhism teaches that our actions should be guided by the principle of compassion, and true happiness comes from seeing others succeed. When someone does not support or acknowledge your successes, it's often because their own feelings of jealousy prevent them from being genuinely happy for you. Envy distorts their perception, leading them to withhold support because they are too focused on their own shortcomings. One way to protect yourself in these situations is by reframing the situation through a Buddhist lens of compassion. Recognize that the lack of support stems from the other person's internal struggles. It's important to not internalize their behavior or allow it to negatively affect your confidence or self-worth. Understand that their inability to support you reflects their own dissatisfaction with themselves, not with you. If you find that someone consistently fails to show support or is even dismissive of your achievements, it might be helpful to distance yourself emotionally from that person, especially in moments where you need positive reinforcement. Focus instead on the people in your life who genuinely celebrate your success and uplift you. These individuals are your true supporters and will encourage you to keep going, rather than hold you back. Protecting yourself from the impact of someone's lack of support involves nurturing your own self-esteem. Practice self-love and acknowledge your accomplishments, even if others don't. In Buddhist practice, this can be achieved through self-compassion, where you recognize your worth regardless of external validation. When you cultivate inner peace and confidence, you will not be shaken by the lack of support from others. At the same time, don't be afraid to call out behavior that feels toxic, but do so with kindness and without retaliation. A simple conversation where you express your feelings can help clear the air. Sometimes envious people are unaware of how their actions affect others, and addressing it calmly and respectfully may lead to a better understanding between you both. A lack of support is a clear sign of envy. By recognizing this, you can protect yourself emotionally by focusing on the positive, nurturing your self-worth, and surrounding yourself with those who truly have your best interests at heart. Stay focused on your path and remember that the envy of others should never dictate your happiness or progress. 4. Overly critical attitude. One of the most direct signs of envy is an overly critical attitude. A person who is envious of you may constantly find faults with your actions, decisions, or achievements, often in a way that feels harsh or unjustified. This criticism can range from subtle jabs to outright insults, but it always comes with the intention of making you feel inadequate or less successful than you truly are. An envious person might criticize your appearance, your work, or your choices in a way that makes you second-guess yourself. For example, if you've worked hard on a project and received positive feedback from others, an envious person might downplay your success by saying things like, "Well, I could have done it better," or "I don't think that's all that impressive." Instead of celebrating your hard work, they focus on the negatives or try to diminish your achievements. This type of criticism often stems from deep-rooted insecurity. The envious person may feel threatened by your success or talents, which triggers their need to tear you down in order to feel better about themselves. In Buddhist philosophy, this is closely tied to the concept of the three poisons: attachment, aversion, and ignorance. The envious person may be attached to their own idea of success, feel aversion towards you for achieving something they want, and be ignorant of how their actions are harming both you and themselves. In these situations, it's important to remain mindful and not take the criticism personally. Buddhist teachings emphasize the importance of maintaining a calm, balanced mind in the face of adversity. When someone criticizes you, especially out of envy, their words are not a reflection of your true worth. Instead, they reveal more about their own struggles with self-esteem and jealousy. To protect yourself, it's crucial to practice detachment. Don't allow the envious person's words to take root in your mind and affect your self-confidence. Recognize that their criticisms are coming from a place of internal pain and insecurity, and choose not to engage with the negativity. When you remain grounded in your own sense of self-worth, their attempts to criticize you will lose their power. Another powerful way to protect yourself is to practice compassion. Understand that envy is a destructive emotion, not just for the person experiencing it, but also for everyone around them. By responding with kindness and not returning criticism with criticism, you help break the cycle of negativity. It can also be helpful to address the situation calmly and directly if the criticism becomes too overwhelming. Sometimes, offering a compassionate conversation can help the envious person reflect on their own actions and lead them to recognize how their behavior is damaging to both parties. An overly critical attitude is a clear sign of envy, but by practicing mindfulness, detachment, and compassion, you can protect yourself from its negative impact. When you maintain a strong sense of inner peace, you create a protective shield against the toxic influence of envy, allowing you to continue on your path of growth and success without being weighed down by others' insecurities. 5. Jealous behavior in social settings. One of the most obvious signs that someone may be envious of you is how they behave in social settings, especially when others are around. A person who is envious of you may exhibit subtle but noticeable behaviors designed to undermine your position or make you appear less favorable in the eyes of others. This can happen during group gatherings, events, or even casual social interactions. For instance, when you're receiving praise or attention from others, an envious person may attempt to shift the focus away from you. They might interrupt you while you're speaking, or they might change the subject entirely when others are showing interest in your achievements. Alternatively, they may make negative or critical comments about you behind your back, or they might gossip to others in an attempt to tarnish your reputation. In these situations, the envious person wants to redirect the spotlight away from you because they feel threatened by your presence. At the core of this behavior is a deep-seated insecurity. Envy makes people feel small and inadequate, so they try to deflect attention from others, particularly those they feel are more successful, in order to protect their fragile self-image. Buddhism teaches us that this kind of jealousy is ultimately self-destructive because it keeps individuals trapped in a cycle of competition, bitterness, and suffering. The more we compare ourselves to others, the more we feed our sense of inadequacy, which fuels negative emotions like envy. To protect yourself in these situations, it's important to remain calm and unaffected by their behavior. If you notice that someone is trying to steal your spotlight or spread negativity in a group setting, practice staying centered and composed. Recognize that their actions are a reflection of their inner struggles, not a reflection of your worth or success. By not reacting emotionally, you can maintain control of the situation and avoid fueling further tension. In some cases, it may be helpful to address the behavior directly but calmly. For example, if someone consistently interrupts you or tries to downplay your achievements in front of others, you can set a gentle but firm boundary by saying something like, "I'd appreciate it if we could focus on this for a moment." This allows you to take charge of the interaction without escalating the situation. Another way to protect yourself is to limit your exposure to toxic social dynamics. If you repeatedly notice that certain individuals display envious behavior in group settings, it may be best to minimize your interactions with them. Surround yourself with people who genuinely celebrate your success and bring positivity into your life, rather than those who are constantly trying to compete or bring you down. Buddhism encourages us to cultivate an attitude of equanimity, maintaining balance and calm regardless of external circumstances. By practicing this mindset, you can protect yourself from the harm caused by others' jealousy and avoid getting caught up in their drama. Focus on your own personal growth and keep your energy directed toward the things that bring you peace and fulfillment, not toward the petty distractions of envy. Jealous behavior in social settings is a strong indicator of envy. By recognizing these signs and protecting your boundaries, you can prevent the negativity of others from affecting your well-being. Stay focused on your own path, and let the envious actions of others fade into the background as you continue to thrive. In conclusion, recognizing the signs of envy in others is a crucial step in protecting your peace and well-being. Whether it's passive-aggressive behavior, constant comparison, a lack of support, overly critical attitudes, or jealous behavior in social settings, these actions are all reflections of the inner struggles that those who are envious of you are facing. By understanding these behaviors, you can respond with mindfulness, compassion, and detachment, allowing you to maintain your emotional balance without becoming affected by their negativity. Buddhism teaches us that envy is a destructive force, both for the person experiencing it and for those around them. When we recognize that someone's jealousy stems from their own insecurities, it becomes easier to respond with kindness rather than defensiveness. It's important not to internalize their negativity or take their actions personally. Instead, we can focus on maintaining our own path of growth, success, and inner peace. Remember, protecting yourself from envy doesn't mean building walls or cutting people off. It means establishing healthy boundaries and staying true to your sense of self. Surround yourself with those who support and uplift you, and practice self-compassion to ensure that you stay grounded and unaffected by others' jealousy. If you find yourself dealing with envious individuals, keep in mind that your success, happiness, and peace are not dependent on their approval or support. Stay true to your journey and continue to grow. Your authenticity and inner strength will always shine through, no matter how much envy others may feel. By responding with equanimity and compassion, you not only protect yourself, but also create a space where positivity can thrive, helping others around you rise above their own envy and find peace. If you've noticed any of these signs in your life, take a moment to reflect on how you can protect your energy and foster a stronger sense of self. Comment below with your thoughts or experiences, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights on personal growth and spiritual protection.